how much harder can it be for hungry Palestinians to get what little food aid there is being brought into southern Gaza? They've been told to walk several miles through the hot sun to a new distribution centre in the southern city of Rafah, set up by Israel, supervised by American security guards. Today, as our Palestinian journalist colleague Mohammed Abu Safir walked with them, the desperate and underfed came under fire. Day 2 of the new aid operation was chaotic, just as it was yesterday. Once again, many turned back for the long walk home, empty-handed and hungry.
We just want to eat. Peace be with you, says this boy before heading hopefully down Gaza's coast road. For even the youngest, it's a mouth-watering dash that they think will end with a meal. They are southbound, following Israeli and American advice. At the start of the week, US mercenaries with IDF backing launched a new aid initiative by opening a food distribution site close to the Egyptian border. It's the place they're trying to reach. We need food. We have nothing, no rice, nothing at all. We are ready to die for food. We are poor people just desperate to eat. Hamas brought us nothing but disaster. Obviously, this was no casual stroll in the spring sunshine. As they too cursed Hamas, these men thought they heard gunfire. These shocking events, witnessed by ITV News' cameraman in Gaza, make a mockery of last night's mission statement by the Israeli Prime Minister, who said the goal is to create a sterile zone in the south where the entire population can move for its own protection. As bullets whiz by, cover rather than food becomes their priority. As they see the new aid distribution system failing to deliver, some Gazans took matters into their own hands this afternoon, storming a UN warehouse to grab bags of flour. This ended up being a deadly stampede, with one nearby hospital reporting 7 fatalities. Those who lost their lives were either trampled on or suffocated under the heavy sacks. As the world squabbles over how best to deliver aid, Gazans are dying to eat. 2 stampedes in 2 days, one at this UN warehouse, the other yesterday at the new distribution site in southern Gaza. The Americans and Israelis have sought to portray these chaotic scenes as a minor blip. Now today, gunfire has prevented many hungry Gazans from even reaching the distribution centre. Aid agencies and the majority of nations refuse to back the new plan on the grounds that it's inadequate and inhumane. It also looks extremely dangerous for those in need. John Irvine, News at 10, Tel Aviv.
Israel and the USA has set up the new food distribution centre in southern Gaza for a reason. It wants to push as many Palestinians as it can as close to the border with Egypt. So the aid operation is operating out of a part of Rafah called Tel al-Sultan, where those pictures of the gunfire were filmed. In a moment, we'll hear from Dan in Washington, but first to John in Tel Aviv. John, aid agencies have criticised the US plan from the start, but the situation clearly seems to be getting worse.
Good evening, Nina. The reason for this tragic mess is a diplomatic impasse. The Americans and the Israelis wanted to introduce this new distribution system to exclude Hamas, to prevent the terrorists from getting their hands on the aid. But the distribution centres are in the very southern part of the Gaza Strip, and the rest of the world basically, and international aid agencies want no part in this scheme because they suspect the Israeli government and maybe the Americans have an ulterior motive, which is to effectively lay a trail of crumbs that 2 million Gazans will have to follow if they want to eat, a trail that will bring them to the very bottom of the Gaza Strip next to the exit to Egypt. The international community feels the most extreme government in Israel's history will then kick out the Gazans completely from the Gaza Strip. The Israelis have a euphemism for it, something like voluntary humanitarian migration, but the rest of the world doesn't want to be complicit in ethnic cleansing. That's why it's not participating. And if the world doesn't actually get its act together on this one, Nina, a dire situation in Gaza will only get worse.
John, thank you very much. Let's go to Dan. Dan, the White House will be seeing what is happening in Gaza too. Will America change its tactics?
Well, President Trump was asked directly about this chaotic aid distribution situation today, and he was pretty dismissive. He basically said, we're getting food to the people of Gaza, it's a nasty situation, it's a nasty fight, and then proceeded to change the subject. I think what was more illuminating was what his Middle East envoy said. He was talking about a possible ceasefire deal that they are trying to broker. He said they're on the precipice of new terms being sent out and said that they were very hopeful about getting some sort of longer term resolution. Now, it's not clear what those terms are and whether the Israelis have agreed to those terms or whether they're going to be presented to them. But we must remember a week ago, the Americans managed to negotiate the release of the last Israeli US hostage, Adan Alexander. That was done with the US talking to Hamas through an intermediary without any involvement from the Israelis. Suggests growing distance and growing tension between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu.